Hello everybody. Well, it is after Christmas. It's almost the week after Christmas. I want to share a little quilting with you this week. I'm going back to the Wonky Star quilt. I've done that before, and I'll show you what I'm doing now for the NICU babies like I've done before. This is a Wonky Star quilt. This is the first quilt square. I've got some kind of fun batik or something for the background, and then some great honeybees for the front. This will be one of 9 squares that I'll put together for a quilt for the NICU again. Here is Wonky Star square number 2. This has dogs with a background of a nice red and white check. I try to get all the dogs' faces facing toward the center with this pretty Sheltie in the middle. Isn't she beautiful? Now I'll sew these two together and these two together, do the same here, get this strip done, then this strip, and then I'll sew the strips together and then we'll be done. And I am ironing on my trusty little craft iron as I go along and trying to get all these seams nice and flat. I've already done a video about how to do a Wonky Star quilt, and I learned how to do this from Kate Jackson. And she is such an amazing quilter, and I am not. So I may link both to my little video, and if I can find her original one that I learned from, I'll link to Kate's as well, so that you can look at both if you would like to try this. It is a really simple quilt square. You can have just one of the squares and put a backing on it and a little binding around it and use it as a table topper. I have one in a basket that I use almost every day as a basket liner, but I'm going to put 9 of these together for a small quilt. Here comes Wonky Star block number 3. Now it's chickens. Are you noticing a pattern of animals? I thought that might be cute for a kid in the NICU, a little baby. All right, and now we just have to add our star points with the scrap material. We've done some good work today. 1, 2, 3, and the last one will be kitties. At least the last of these first ones. Hi everybody. Well, it's time to also catch you up on the stripy sweater, the wacky sweater, the scrappy sweater, whichever one you want to think about. And it's really coming along. Now that I've taken the sleeve openings off, you can really see the structure so much better. That's the back. And here's the front. I like that strip of orange around the neck opening. So let me show you a little bit about what I did with the sleeve openings and what the pattern asks you to do. I need to remember to put a link in the bottom to the pattern so you can go find it easily, and I'll try to remember to do that this time. So let's look at the work I've done. Now let's take a nice good look at this back now that it's a bit more open and visible. I did start with colors I liked the most, those deep colors, and put in splashes of the other. Now this, I mentioned this velour before, or chenille, whatever. You see how it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just gotten picked easily. And if I pulled on this with both hands and stretched it out, those stitches would become a bit more even again. And I think once the tension is put on by being on my body, I think that those stitches will stay pulled out. The more recent yarns that I've ended up with are a little lighter after I got done with that blue. Then this is a really interesting kind of yellow and green that I combined together. Some pinks. This is the same green, but with a white. And then at the bottom I've got some pink and some white combined with some baby blue. Now I'm not going to continue in these light colors. The next color I have after this little band of kind of gray, I'm going to have some more of this. This is the same as, well, there wasn't much of it, but this in there. Very fun. Anyway, I would say that the back of this is about halfway done. I do want this one to be a little bit longer than some of my other sweaters. Give me a little bit of coverage. Now let's look at the sleeve. Now when the stitch count going from needle all the way to needle, the entire width of the sweater, when it reached 98, that is when I took off these sleeve openings. And on that next row, you know, I would knit to here. And of course my knitting used to go all the way around here. But at that point I stopped with my live needle, and then I just strung in between these two markers. There were two markers here. I strung all of this onto a little piece of yarn. And then after I'd done that, they told me to cast on at that point 10 more stitches, and that's what these are here. So I took these off, but I added 10. Then I continued with my knitting all the way across the back, and you can kind of track that little orange row there. And then when I got to this sleeve opening, I did the same thing. I stopped. I took all the stitches in between these two markers off, put them on a piece of yarn, and then, of course, did another 10 cast on. There's my 10 cast on, and then I continued to the end of that row. And now I'm just doing back and forth without the sleeves. And of course, what will happen is that after I get the length that I want, I'll bind that off however they tell me to do it, and then I'll go back and work on the sleeves. Now, I think I've used maybe 4, perhaps 5, but maybe 4 of these center pull balls so far. As you can see, I've got plenty to finish this, even if I put another 3 or 4 on the length, which I don't think I'll need it that long unless I have a really long sweater. I still got tons. I'm probably going to avoid this again. And there's some more there. But the thing is, it's easy to do since I've just tied all these lengths of yarn together anyway when I was putting them on my woolly winder. All I have to do is just, I'll strip this off, you know, pull this off, snip it, and or even this that's in the middle. I'll just, when I get to it, I'll snip that off and tie the other 2 yarns that are on either side of it together. Just kind of wanting to avoid that. There's some more of that fun green I was talking about. This is a very fun yarn. I'll be interested to see how it does. I may avoid the straight white, especially on the sleeves. I don't want anything that tends to get dirty. I would say I'll probably use this one, this one, this one, Probably take that blue off and use this one. Just use the yarns I want as I go forward. This is a bit of an experiment. I guess what I would say is that in your yarn stash, you probably have plenty of yarn to make a couple of sweaters. And you don't have to wait, you know, go look for a pattern you like, maybe even one you've used before, but go ahead and use the yarn you've got. I put all of mine into center pull balls because I wanted them to be easy to work with, and I didn't want to be fighting with skeins or hanks, especially when they get knotted. I wanted it, and once I started knitting, I wanted to be able to knit without fighting my yarn. But you do have enough yarn, so think about that if you like the idea of a stripy kind of wonky sweater. I hope you can see what's going on here. I've got just 4 stitches left on this row, and I've come to a stitch where I've dropped half the stitch. I was using, as you can see, a combination of a white and a blue yarn. And on this stitch right here, the very next one, you see there's only a blue. And I dropped that white down there. And I want to pick it back up. This is where a crochet hook, now this crochet hook is a little bit big for this. I want to go through the previous stitch right there. And if you look on the back, you can see that white yarn hanging around by itself. I'm going to grab it with my crochet hook and bring it back through. Okay, let's go back around to the front. So now I just need to put my blue that's over here and my white that's here. I need to put those together. Let's make sure we get them. Okay, crochet hook is done. Let's get them turned the right way. I think they need to be turned that way, yes. Okay, and now you see I've got my blue and my white again together. The tension's not quite right on that blue. It's a little gappy, but that's okay. It'll all adjust itself. So if you drop a stitch, a crochet hook is a very useful tool for getting it back, especially if you're not doubling and you drop a stitch and you've really got a problem. You can even pull up that lost stitch from rows beneath, and even though it's a little tight, it'll work itself out and you can fix that drop stitch. This is the 4th one that I chose for in the middle. I'm going to keep on working on the star points for this. I've got one of them done. And then let me show you the other fabrics that I've picked. I think I have enough animals for everything. I have a totally different chicken pattern that I like. It's very vibrant. Got plenty of that, so I'll need to find a background. And if I don't like that one, I've also got perhaps just enough of this. Now, wouldn't that make a nice centerpiece? I can't decide. Now here's a possible contrasting background. You really have to have something that is a big contrast. I think we saw that with the honeybees, that the blue and the yellow are totally different. It really made the bees stand out. I also love this fabric, as you know, and thought maybe we could do some of those flamingos. This is a possibility. This is a horse print. It's very dark. It doesn't look very nursery colored. I guess if I had this and had a brighter, happier, I don't know if I pulled this out as a possibility for the, I don't know about that. It is pretty contrasting. This would be very happy. I'm still, the jury's out on that one. This is a possibility. These are animals. They're sea creatures. I could focus on this little bird as the center one instead of any of the fish or the mollusks or the starfish. But that one is so bright and happy. I kind of like that. As a contrasting color, here's a fun watermelon. Here's another fun contrast. Not sure if I have enough of it though. I might. Isn't that cute? Let me see. Oh, and here's the last animal. It's really an insect. Is this dragonfly pattern, and it's so pretty. And I could probably get that. Let me see. Or this one as the centerpiece. I don't have a lot of this, but I might have enough. Might have enough. I think I mentioned that I need 9 squares altogether, 9 of these blocks, to make a 3x3 quilt, which would give me about, I think about 27 inches square, I think, which is about right, almost 30 for a tummy time mat. I think this one could be super cute. I'm trying to decide if I want to put the Sheltie right in the middle or one of the kitty cats. It's a hard decision. All right, I'll see you next week for more creative activities at my own little house. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.